welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to demonstrate a card that is based on one I made a couple of years ago using a stamp set called By the Bay. When our new Feels Like Home stamp set came out in our celebration catalog, I knew I wanted to try using the same card design but with this stamp set. So it's just a simple basic card, but I can't wait to share it with you. So let's start stamping. This is the stamp set that I'm using. It's beautiful. I love the detailed image. I also love, I'm a sucker for fonts. So I love all the beautiful fonts on this. And of course the sentiments are perfect as well. So that's the stamp set that I'm using. And I've gone ahead and created my, my card base. So the card base is 8.5 by 5.5, folded in half at the 4 1/4. So this is my standard size card, which is 5.5 by 4 1/4. My balmy blue measures 5 1/4 by 4. The poppy parade layer measures 5 by 3 3/4. Now I also have a piece of basic white, and this piece measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. So this is going to go on here once it's stamped. Then I have another piece of balmy blue that I've cut, and this measures 4 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then another piece of basic white that measures 4 3/4 by 1 1/2. So this is going to, once it's stamped, it's going to get glued on like this, and then on that piece, and then on this piece. So these are the same measurements as my original card using the By the Bay stamp set. But I've changed the colors. I've just used a different gray, a different blue, and a different red than I used on my original card. I'm going to also make a second card, all the same measurements, except for these two pieces. So I've cut this piece to measure 4 3/4 by 2, and the balmy blue to mat it measures 4 3/4 by 2 1/4, just because I wanted to see what it would look like as a bit of a wider strip. So I thought I'm going to make two, and then I've got an extra card to send to somebody special. So I have my Stamparatus. I'm going to pull in my white pieces. Get my magnets off. Yeesh. And I'm just going to line up this edge with this third notch here. I like moving my paper more towards the middle versus right in the corner. I just find it works better for me. And then I'm lining this piece right on top against that second notch. So let me show you. So you see, that's lined up right against that notch there, and this one's lined up right against that notch there. So it's really easy to make sure you've got everything centered. I'm going to put another magnet on just to play it safe. So now I'm going to pull out my stamp set and position this on right like so. I'm going to use my black memento for this. Stamp it down. And I'm going to stamp it twice because I want to get a really nice dark image. And I see I got a little bit of ink down there. I'm not going to worry about that. Life's too short to worry about that little bit of ink. Besides, maybe I'll add some color on top of that. We'll see how it comes together. Okay. So you will have a little bit of a gap in between. That is okay because this piece is going to be matted on top of this anyways. So now I'm going to bring in my second one, and I've just decided I'm going to try doing this landscape and see how that looks. So I'm just going to, well, I can do it the same way I did it before. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this one just to make sure that that's center. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick up the stamp like that, and put it on like so. We'll see how that looks when that's done, but that could be really, I think that's going to look really neat when that one's all done as well. So time for the fun part, the coloring. So I'm going to color these both a little bit differently. So I'm gonna start with my dark and light smoky slate. So I'm gonna use my light first and do the bricks. Pull in some dark. And I'm gonna go back on top with my light smoky slate and kind of work that in a little bit. I'm gonna bring in my light smoky slate again and do the frame. And I want it to be light, so I'm only gonna add just a little bit of this ink. I'm not going to go on top a second time or use the dark on this part. Now I'm taking my light crumb cake and I'm going to do the wood down here. I have more image on this one because of course I'm doing it landscape. Okay, I'm pulling in my dark and light granny apple green now. I'm going to add that to the trees. Now I'm using my light and dark old olive, and that's going to be for the greenery down here. I'm pulling in my light and dark soft succulent now. I'm going to use my light and dark evening evergreen for this next pot. Might not need the dark, but we'll add some light to that pot. And for this one. Now I'm bringing in my bronze and I'm going to do my tree branches. So I'm pulling in my balmy blue Stampin' Up marker because I don't have balmy blue in the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to use this for my bike. And I'm going to use the light smoky slate again for the tires. I'm going to use the dark Calypso Coral again for this plant pot up here. Dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm just going to dab that over here for some flowers. Some dark polished pink for these flowers. Nice pop of color. Taking my dark Night of Navy, and this is going to be for my bike seat. I'm going to take my crumb cake again and just go on top just to add a bit more brown. I'm going to add a little bit of my dark crumb cake right on top of this just to add a bit of shading. And what are we missing? We are missing the door and some more flowers. So I think for those flowers up there, I'm going to pull in my Poppy Parade, and I'm using the marker because I don't have the Stampin' Blend for this color. Just dab that on. I'm going to use some Poppy Parade down here as well. As you can see, I'm not being totally precise with my coloring. I'm just adding on my color, dabbing it on, and it looks beautiful. And I find that that's a good approach when you're working with fine detailed artwork like this. I mean, you can definitely take your time and, you know, go in all those little bits and pieces, but I know a lot of people don't have the patience for that. I love coloring, but I do find that just by adding on your color like I did, not worrying too much about being exact and precise, makes it a lot more fun to color, and it looks beautiful. Okay, now I'm gonna bring in my Poppy Parade marker, and I'm scribbling it on the block, and I'm going to pick that up with my aqua painter. Stampin' Up doesn't carry these aqua painters anymore. We carry our water painters, but I don't have water in those right now, so I just thought I would grab what was handy. So I'm just going to pick that up. They work exactly the same, and I'm just going to color in my door. And I like using my water with my ink so that I get a softer look, and then I can go in and add layers of color as I want to. Now, Memento ink is not super water friendly. It can bleed, but I'm okay with that for this particular design. I think it'll look pretty to have that mesh a little bit with the colors together. Now if you have the ink pads, you don't have to put it on the block like I did here. Let me zoom out. There you go. You can pick it up right from the lid and color that way too. So you have different ways you can color, that's for sure. If I used my marker directly onto this, it would be too dark. It would be dark like that, and I don't want to lose my detail. See, and I'm just adding some more. And I can pick it up this way as well. And just go in and layer until you're happy with what you've got. I'm going to take my balmy blue and I'm going to color this and make this a doormat. Okay. So I'm going to say that that one is done. So I'm going to set that aside and bring this one in. And I think for this one, I'm going to do exactly the same, but reverse. I'm going to do a blue door and a red mat. I am gluing this onto my balmy blue now, and I actually just trimmed this down 1/8 of an inch. So the balmy blue actually measures 2 1/8. First one done. This is essentially the spotlighting technique on a bit of a bigger level. And of course I've got this crooked. Anyhow, this is the spotlighting technique. So if you're not familiar with the spotlighting technique, I will put some links down below for some videos and projects I've done in the past using the spotlighting technique. And I still need to stamp my sentiment on here, so I will come back to that one in a second. But see what I mean? How I don't get like a whole lot of detail past the image. And I realized that when I was originally stamping it, but I'm like, let's just go with it, see what happens. You guys notice anything different, by the way? Anything different with my videos? Anything different with my videos? Just saying, somebody got engaged during my vacation out in BC. So I'm quite excited about that. Anyways. What now? Now we need our sentiments. This little plant pot would be cute added on too. So let's grab some sentiments. Okay, I thought I was filming, but I wasn't. But look, I stamped that completely, totally crooked. So now we're gonna stamp the sentiment on this one, and for this one I want to stamp I Can't Thank You Enough, which is a nice long sentiment to go right along the bottom. If you ever want to fix something like that, like if it's really crooked and it bothers you and you don't want to redo the whole thing, I'll show you how you can fix that, or how I would go about fixing it. So I've cut a piece of scrap basic white cardstock so that it measures 1.5 across. So I'm going to take that same stamp, ink it again, okay, and then I'm just going to trim that. And take a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, put them on the back. And then just put that right on top. Yep. And there. Now your sentiment is straight. So that's a way that you can fix it. And then I have this little ink spot, right? Now, personally, I think that almost looks like a curb, like a little cement curb or something. So you could totally leave that, or again, get some scrap basic white and use my black memento, ink that up. In fact, I might do this for both of them because I think it might look really cute. A little pot of tulips. Now I'm only going to color one of these. So I'm going to use the light soft succulent for my plant pot. And let's add some dark granny apple green. I'm leaving a little bit of white so I can go in with the light granny apple. And I'm going to use some dark fresh freesia. Back in with my light soft succulent. Okay, and I'm going to cut that out. Taking a Stampin' Dimensional, put that right behind there, and let's see, ooh, a toughie. I can't decide if I want it over here or over here. This is where I wish I could hear you guys, hear what you say. I'm going to put it right here. Just do it before I change my mind. And then I'm going to take this one, see, and this is where I can hide this, that little boo-boo. And then for this one, I'm just going to glue it right onto the card. I tried a dimensional and honestly, it looked kind of weird. So we'll see how it works with the glue. Position that. I'm going to let it go off the page a little bit. Now I just want to add a little bit of texture, so I'm going to add a bow using my linen thread. So I've gone ahead and added a tiny itty bitty little linen thread bow to the flower pot, and then a little bow onto the sentiment, and then I also added a little bit of clear Wink of Stella on the window panes just to add a little bit of sparkle and shine. So those cards were a ton of fun to make. Same layouts, just made the width a little bit different on this one. Colored them using the same mediums, but changed the colors a little bit on the doors. I just love it when you can take one card design and just play with it and come up with multiple designs using the same layout. The links and the supplies I used will be listed in the description below. And this Feels Like Home stamp set is available as a free celebration item with a qualifying order until the end of September. So if you love this stamp set and you don't have it yet, make sure you get it, because once they're gone, they're gone. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Happy stamping.